Hey, what's up? Jeff Lerner here, and today we're talking about how to win sales and influence people. This is, even if you're not in sales, I'm gonna, hopefully by the end of this video, convince you that everybody's in sales and that everybody should be selling, and that frankly, the world is a better place when everybody is selling and essentially entering into mutually agreeable transactions, which is what sales is supposed to be. So yeah, we're gonna talk about how to get money, how to get love, how to get happiness. That's what these little icons represent in just a minute. Okay, welcome. We're talking about how to win sales, how to influence people. I think it's really just a conversation about how to be more effective in the world that we live in and that we always have lived in. I don't think this is a symptom of a time or an era. I think this is how the world has always worked. Even when you read, books that go back thousands of years, the great leaders, great achievers, great conquerors, great whatevers, they were great salespeople. This has never changed. And so what do I really mean when I talk about sales and influencing people? Basically, the way I think of it is you're using verbal, emotional, and physical energy to essentially transfer belief. And that's all or belief or feeling. And ideally it's feeling that's attached to a deep belief. And that's really all I think about sales as is, I had a friend call me a couple days ago and he was like, hey Jeff, I know you bought Jacqueline a Tesla, like what do you guys think of it? Because he was on the fence, like, I'm thinking about getting a new car and we're thinking about, getting a Tesla, him and his wife. I literally sold him a Tesla in the next 2 minutes. I told him how much Jacqueline and I have enjoyed our car and the things we love about it, and and I wasn't all positive. I told him the things to watch out for. I said, yeah, it's a pain in the butt on road trips because you got to budget in this extra time at charging, and sometimes there's a pile up at the charging station and you got to wait, or even sometimes the batteries are low. Like I probably spent over half the time of the conversation talking about things that aren't in the brochure or things that you might not think of that are not necessarily positives. But overall, my feeling that was communicated through the language, my energy, my enthusiasm, and my words, which obviously supported what I was saying, despite what you may have heard that only 7% of sales is about the words you use. That's total nonsense, by the way. But that's a separate video. The point is, it was everything. It was the words and the energy. Essentially, my belief and my feeling about my wife's car conveyed to him. And he texted me yesterday and said, dude, we bought it. We went and we test drove it and we bought it on the spot. And I'm so excited. And thanks for the nudge. Like you really helped us make that decision. So, I didn't get anything for it, but I sold him a Tesla. But I didn't do it through trial closes and, intentionally creating a yes state and, any sort of like neuro-linguistic programmed hypnotic process. I wasn't consciously practicing high sensory acuity. I wasn't, I didn't have a list of objections and I didn't have to rebuttal anything. Like that stuff's all cool. That's the tactical selling mechanics, the things that you practice. But my approach and what this video is really about is more about how to have a good sales energy about you, just in general, because it will catapult you through life. It's not about picking and choosing your spots to go, oh, let me flip into this artificial mode of being salesy. No, it's actually about being enthusiastic, being optimistic, communicating passionately about the things that you actually do believe, having the standards that say I'm not going to communicate passionately and positively about things that I don't believe. Like I'm going to draw the line and I'm not going to sell stuff I don't believe in, or I'm not going to influence people in a direction that I don't actually support. It's a way of being in the world that just naturally makes you more effective. Again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Great salespeople, they have a certain abundance of energy and positivity and enthusiasm, and they create a feeling. They create a feeling in the other person. And it's, I say this all the time. If you've seen 5 of my videos, you've probably heard me say this at least 2 or 3 times. It's the Maya Angelou method for sales. People forget what you say, they forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And think about buying a car. Do you remember, like when you get home, even you drive the car home from the dealer right there. By the time you get in your driveway at your home, do you remember how many cubic inches the engine was of the car? Do you remember how many foot-pounds of torque You might remember how many horsepower. Do you even remember how many miles per gallon it gets, city and highway? Like, you don't remember all the data. You don't remember what was said. Do you remember if, the guy had the keys on him, or he had to make you wait while he went to get the keys, or whatever. I'm making up examples. You don't remember what happened, and to the extent that you do, you only remember it because it's of how it made you feel. Like if you did have to wait for something, it's because it made you feel impatient, or you felt like you were in a hurry, or you felt like you were going to be late for something. That's the only reason you'd remember it. You remember how things make you feel. So if you want to be good at sales, if you want to be good at life, if you want to be effective, make people feel good. And that might sound like a really obvious thing, but tell me that's not something that the world needs to hear a lot more of. That a lot of people need to hear a lot more of. Like, hey, you're making people feel shit. You suck at life because you're making people feel shit. You think that you're making people feel shitty because life sucks. No, life sucks because you're making people feel shitty. Try making people feel better. And then not only would people just be happier to be around you, you'd have more friends, you'd have more opportunity, you'd have more business prospects. You could easily go land a sales job and probably be the #1 guy just because you got super positive all of a sudden, and positivity creates energy, and energy creates hustle, and the hustle will create more opportunities, and within those opportunities, the positivity will help you convert the opportunities into more sales, which will create a promotion, which will create more opportunity, which creates more energy, which creates more resources. Take better care of yourself. You can eat better. You can take better care of your family. Your wife or husband will like you more because you're bringing home more bacon. Right? It's a snowball effect. Start making people feel better. It's the key to life. Let's break it down a little bit. Okay, that's not like, that may have been the emotional high point of the video, but that's not actually the point of the video. It's just make people feel good. Although, if that's all you take from this video, it would prove my point, because the reason that you took that from the video is because that was the emotional high point of the video. That was probably the moment in the video when you felt the most, which is why you remembered it the most, which proves my point about how people remember how they feel. That to say, let's dissect a little further. So, in terms of sales and influence, and maybe this is my vantage point because I specifically do this in multiple ways. I do communication one-to-many through like videos or from stages, but then obviously if I'm doing business, or even especially I think transactionally with my family or friends or whatever, there's a lot of one-to-one relationships in my life too. So I'm typically viewing influence through the lens of one-to-many and one-to-one. And those are basically the two paradigms that you have to really sort of master if you want to be successful in life. You have to be, because think about it, the medium of exchange is different and the feedback mechanism is different. If you're trying to have a conversation with one-to-one person and you're trying to get your point across, you're trying to enroll them in your belief system, you're getting real-time feedback, right? You read their body language, you read their facial expressions, you read the intonation of their voice, and you can sort of do this dance back and forth, right? But if you're on stage talking to 1,000 people, or you're me right now talking to a video, and I'm not explicitly selling something, but I'm absolutely selling something right now. I'm trying to sell you on me. I'm trying to sell you on the idea that I genuinely believe life is meant to be awesome, and I'm genuinely committed to, teaching tactics, strategies, and mindset, singular, to help people have that more awesome life. Like I 100% plan to close this deal with you on this video and every other one, right? But I'm not getting the feedback. I don't know if you're frowning at me. I don't know if you're smiling at me. I don't know if you're laughing at my jokes. I don't know if you're about to click off the video. I'm not getting that feedback. So my approach has to be different. So those are the two different sort of modalities that we have to operate in when we're trying to apply the skills of being influential. That's kind of where I wanted to go with this video, is what are the two, how do you practice for each one, right? So first of all, practicing one-to-one, and I like to keep things really simple, right? You're a lot more likely to apply and benefit from something if I make it very simple. So the simple thing that you can practice to make yourself more effective one-to-one, I say the one thing. There's actually two, and they kind of go together. It's essentially responsive listening is the technical term for what it is, but I call it my matching +1 method. Responsive listening, and you can Google responsive listening and you'll find all these articles from psychology and about what responsive listening is, but it's basically creating a sensation of validation or empathy through how you listen to someone. So obviously this is a one-to-one thing, like one-to-many. Right now I can't listen to you because you're just an eye of a lens to me right now. But if you're a person, I want to make sure that I, smile, I nod, I affirm periodically and say, that makes sense to me. Even the specific affirmations, don't just go, oh yeah. No, tell them, that makes sense to me. I can understand why you would feel that way. Use language that moves them into the language of feeling that leads them. I understand why you feel that way. Ask questions that say, so what did that do for you? Or what does that mean for your life? Or how did that make you feel? Or, what was the impact of that on you? And then when they, so move them down into another layer of depth. And then as they answer that question, yeah, I understand. That makes a lot of sense to me. People want to feel felt. Think about that. They want to feel felt. They want to feel heard and understood. It's like the number one thing people are lacking. We're surrounded by, all these people and all this hustle and bustle in our life, and yet the number one thing that people report feeling nowadays is loneliness, right? We feel more cut off than ever, more isolated. People desperately want to feel felt, and you create that feeling for people, and it's not a manipulation. It's a way of being effective in the world. It's a way of making people feel good. How is it bad to make people feel good? Explain that to me. By the way, it's a win-win, right? One of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Seek win-win. You make them feel good. They make you feel good. You find reciprocity. Rising tide raises both boats. But you can do that one-to-one through responsive listening. And this whole matching +1 thing that I talked about, it's kind of subtle, but it's really powerful. It means if they're at a 5 and they're sharing with you at a 5, validate, empathize, responsively listen, but try to draw them up to a 6. So bump your energy up just a notch. And then naturally, over the course of the conversation, they'll come up to a 6. Now go to a 7. Because what's happening is people, one of the laws of influence is reciprocity, right? People will naturally try to reciprocate what they're getting back from you, as long as it's not so different from what they're giving as to be overwhelming. So as they naturally try to reciprocate, and you're always just a hair above them energetically, what's happening is their state is changing. Their energy is opening and expanding through the process of conversing with you and communicating with you. So naturally, they'll start to associate and go, man, I am energized through communicating with this person, and that feels good. My state is different than it was when I started this conversation. I like the way this feels. You know what? I might want to spend some more time with this person. I might want to get to know this person. I might want to go to lunch with this person. I might want to buy a car from this person. I might want to schedule a follow-up visit with this person, because he cracked my back as a chiropractor. Like whatever it is, you'll always win by matching +1 energy and listening responsively. Let's talk about one-to-many, right? How would you practice this same sort of method for one-to-many communication? It's this simple. Write something down that you would have to say, and then literally +1 match yourself in a mirror. Energetically or responsively listen to yourself in the mirror. And this may sound totally bizarre. Here, I'm gonna literally I'll do better than that. I'll grab something off my phone, and I'll pull up, like, let's say an email. I take notes on my phone of like emails all the time. Let me find one. And I'm going to responsively listen to myself reading this email. Okay, this is an old social post that I did. Now, I'll just do a minute of this. The number one way people get scammed on Facebook. The number one way people get scammed on Facebook, it's not spoofed pages. It's not Nigerian inheritances or phishing scams. It's seemingly ordinary people, albeit they probably have nice cars or pictures of their bank accounts, but they're promoting make money offers on their personal profiles. So what I would do is I would read that, and I would read it again, and I would say, okay, I'm going to match that energy, but I'm going to +1 it. And I would say, okay, and it'll get better every time. I would say, hey, let me tell you the number one way people get scammed on Facebook. Listen, it's not spoofed pages. It's not Nigerian inheritances or phishing scams. It's seemingly ordinary people, albeit, often people with nice cars or pictures of their bank accounts, promoting make money offers on their personal profiles. And I'll go, okay, that was good. That was better. I like the way that felt. Okay, let me +1 it again. Let's talk about the number one way people get scammed on Facebook. It's not spoofed pages. It's not Nigerian inheritances or phishing scams. It's seemingly ordinary people. Granted, a lot of them have nice cars. A lot of them have pictures of their big fat bank accounts, but they're on Facebook promoting make money offers on their personal profiles. That was better. Okay, you see what's happening? I could keep going. Every time I do it, it's going to get better and better, and it's going to translate better into when I have to do it or anything like it on stage, because what I'm doing is I'm creating a muscle memory. I'm creating a repository of energy in my body that I can tap back into anytime I need to sell one-to-many. And it's simple. You don't have to create words on the spot. Write something down and practice essentially rehearsing it to yourself in the mirror, +1ing your own energy with each repetition. And a lot of other things will draw out of it too. Natural body language, natural movements, natural pacing and cadence, and eventually you'll be money. Okay, hey, those are my notes on how to win sales and influence people, how to get more money, how to get more happiness. Happiness is over there, how to get more love. If you like this kind of stuff and you're into having an awesome life and you want to learn more ways to do it, then subscribe to my channel and make sure you click the bell to get notified when I put out new videos. And I thank you for your time. I'll see you on the next one.